Welcome back to the Healing Inquiry. I'm Christina Sagoon Powers. This is a space of exploration, not fixed answers, a process of learning and listening to the body, the mind, and deeper wisdom within all of us. I'm sharing my journey as I allow my body to heal and transform from tumors I discovered in my breast in 2023 and confirmed from a sonogram and mammogram in 2025. I invite you and your healing journey to learn, share, and go along the path with me together. I have gratitude for all the new viewers and subscribers from episode 3. Where are you tuning in from today? Just pop it in the chat. I am amazed. This is a small channel right now, but I'm amazed at the different viewers from all parts of the globe. So that's super exciting to me. All right, so let's begin. Today is a very special episode. It's the Aries equinox, and in the Northern Hemisphere, we might call it spring equinox or vernal equinox. In the Southern Hemisphere, it is their autumn equinox. But it is the equal day, equal night. And today, there are a lot of solar activity. There's a lot of planetary activity. There's 8 planets coming into this equinox. And so on an astrological point of view, it's hugely significant. And so you have to imagine if you don't follow astrology or anything like that, you do have that concept that the moon and the sun are a huge impact on our weather patterns, our water, and we are basically made up of the same things as the earth. And I'm going to talk about that today, how important that rhythm is. And we are hugely impacted, just like any exposure of those kinds of activity, it's going to have an impact energetically on us. In yogic and Vedic traditions, this is a hugely significant day, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. I would love to hear if you tried the heart coherence breath I shared in episode 2 last week, or yoga nidra, or actually 2 weeks ago, I shared the heart coherence breath. And last week, I shared the yoga nidra technique in episode 3. Did you try any of those? Did you try any of the links I shared? What was your experience? If you can, comment in the chat right now if you're live with me, or if you're on the replay, go ahead and put that in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences with that. So last week I discussed, and we did a quick practice of bringing the mind into theta or delta state. That's a total relaxation. So the body has that opportunity to heal and rejuvenate when it's in that state. This is an excellent practice for after work, in particular in the afternoon hours when the mind and the body feel very tired, overwhelmed, exhaustion, lethargic, agitated. This is what we call in Ayurveda the Vata time of day. And I'm going to break that down a little bit more today in our topic. So let's break it down in what Ayurveda is, learn a little bit more about Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is the science of life. That's the closest literal translation. So understanding that Ayurveda comes from the Sanskrit language. This was a vibratory frequency-based language. So the sounds had a direct meaning connected to the body. Not like English there's a created language where it's broken down into literal translation. So but the best we can do is Ayur is life, longevity, vitality. Veda is knowledge, science, or wisdom. So they were very interested in creating the longevity of life, a high quality of living. And so all of the science and the practices that they compiled were all about creating that longevity and quality of life. This modality of Ayurveda, it was written down in ancient texts over 5,000 years ago, and it continues in its traditions today. So Ayurveda looks at life. One of its aspects its pillars, is looking at life as rhythm and pattern. So when we align with that natural rhythm and pattern of Earth and the cosmos, we're attuned mentally, physically, emotionally. When we step out of that natural rhythm and pattern, we weaken our nervous system, our immune system, our digestive system. We can experience irritability, exhaustion, confusion, frustration, anxiety, overwhelm, fear, or depression. So when the mind is in these types of patterns, it opens the door for disease to flower and manifest. That's why it's critical. There are many modalities that I've learned about, many that I'm practicing right now, and we're going to go deeper into some of those as we, all of them actually, as we go along in the episodes. But what is essential is what I've been talking about the last few episodes and today, is having that meditative practice, having that breath practice, and having the body in rhythm. When those things are completely out of balance, it opens the door for disease. If we are already in that disease state, we want that to be our foundation. That's our medicine. We could be doing any of the modalities, Chinese, Western, Ayurvedic, and it doesn't matter. If we don't have that foundational basis, none of those things are going to work. So you have to have this understanding and develop a reverence for the body and develop a relationship with the body, because being out of balance and out of relationship with the body is where disease has come in the first place. So when the body moves out of rhythm, sleep pattern is disrupted. Clear thinking, decision-making is disrupted. The body does not digest food properly or have a daily elimination of waste and toxins. Symptoms of discomfort and pain begin to emerge at this point. When we fall out of rhythm with nature, the body begins to lose its ability to regulate and repair, hands down. So let's look at how we determine our rhythm in our day. There's an overall rhythm, and then there is the one that matches our body. I shared 2 quick surveys in the description. One is imbalances of mind and personality. The other is imbalances of the physical body. So it's below in the description, and you can check it out right now, or on the replay, you can stop and download it. And note your responses. So then you can kind of see where you're tending to be out of balance. So when I have the discussion and I'm talking about the imbalances, you'll kind of clue in and go, okay, I feel like I'm identifying with that. So, or just, kind of listen right now, absorb it, and then download it afterwards. And this is just to give you a quick window into what your imbalances might be. As a practitioner, we would go much, much deeper, but this is just kind of a general way to give you a sense of where you are out of balance. We always want to notice where we are out of balance so that we can bring that into balance. Once we are in balance and our true nature shows through, we often find we are not the type of person we thought we were. When we're out of balance, we don't actually know who we are. We were identifying, in some cases, all along with our symptoms and discomfort. For example, our mind might say, I get frustrated easily, or it takes me forever to fall asleep, or I get overwhelmed when I have too many new things going on, or I procrastinate and I have a hard time starting a project. These are just a few of the things we can tell ourselves, and it is for sure a sign we are out of balance and do not experience who we truly are. So, for example, a person who is easily frustrated, mentally exhausted, when they're in balance, they're joyful, enthusiastic, passionate, clear, focused, and we know they're reliable. They always get the job done and get it done excellently. When a person is easily overwhelmed with new things and usually gives up, when they're in balance, they're creative, artistic, inspired. They're a person, it's like they're the ray of sunshine in the room. Everyone loves to be around them. The person who procrastinates, just doesn't want to start a project, lacks motivation, is the most heart-centered and compassionate person, and will put heart and soul into every project and will build community doing it when they're in balance. And so that's just the differences. And sometimes we identify and we are so out of balance for so long, we think that's who we are. I'm just going to bring up the next. I have some slides that I want to share with you. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to share them with you, but I am going to talk about them. So I want to go in and identify how to look at daily rhythms and how to bring yourself into balance with the daily rhythms. So daily routines are the foundation of health. So healthy routines are going to lead to health and vitality, inner beauty, and us reaching our full potential. So coming into that balance, those personality types that I was just referring to. An unhealthy routine leads to ill health, diminished well-being, and this fading inner beauty where we feel this idea of the aging process, that's not real. That's us thinking that we are this imbalanced person when we're not. So the aging process is not real. Once we come into these healthy routines, we are vital and we are ageless. Well, the body will die. We're not immortal, but that the qualities that we will have a high quality of life for a long period of time. We don't have to have this diminished quality of life in the aging process. So we consciously create healthy daily routines according to dosha for an optimum health and an optimum human experience. So vata, so if you took the survey and you looked and you saw the qualities of going out of balance in mind, personality, and body in vata, they tend to have this very erratic behavior, very erratic thinking. There's a lot of, we call it in the 5 elements, air and ether. So it's very, windy. Healthy routines become essential. Yet this is the most difficult personality type to follow routine. That's the very thing that they need to bring them into balance. So a lack of stable routines, it leads to anxiety, nervousness, confusion, overwhelm. The physical body becomes drier, hair, nails, skin, very, very dry, brittle. An ideal healthy rhythm is what they benefit from. Steady rhythm and few fluctuations in sleeping, eating, work with consistent patterns. Now, there is a moment when we want to be flexible. We don't want to be so rigid, but it's just like anything when we need this medicine, thinking of this as medicine, we kind of need to keep that stability until the body gains its strength, the mind gains its balance, and we can feel that balanced side of the equation. So pitta tends to be focused and can be very intense, very sharp, a lot of heat in the body, a lot of heat in the mind, quick mind. And all of this leads to burnout, exhaustion, mentally and physically. A pitta type person, they're planners, they're goal-oriented, they have routines, they're willing to change the routine if they learn that there's a better way of doing something. So that's a very balanced pitta type. But when they just excessively go, it runs into burnout very quickly. So routines are good for the pitta. It strengthens their foundation, protects them from that intensity when they have a routine. Ideal healthy routine is steady but flexible. So that it's that rigidity that they fall into out of balance when they don't want to step out of the routine. Flexibility is really key to a pitta staying in their rhythm and pattern, able to be flexible when needed. Occasional spontaneity is healthy, and to lessen that intensity. It's when they fall into that pattern of rigidity and lack of spontaneity when we know they're out of balance. So a kappa tends to be very steady. They move slow. It's like mud. That sticky, stuck quality. They can be stuck in a rut, very difficult to make changes. On the positive side of it, the upside of it, they're very reliable, and very dependable. When they're in that ruck, in that stuck stage, they can lead to a stagnation. Increased water and earth elements over time. This will cause weight gain, increasing mucus formation, and the sinus, very mucousy, tends to have lung congestion, sinus congestion, lots of motivation or inspiration. I'm sorry, a loss of motivation, inspiration, and excitement. So, lack of motivation, not really wanting to do anything, go anywhere, or build anything. An ideal healthy rhythm is being spontaneous, not having that rigidity, mixing things up, trying new things. So the rhythm of sleep and rest. So just a reminder from our last episode, I talked about sleep, and why this kind of blends into what we're talking about today is Ayurveda considers sleep to be one of the three pillars of longevity and vitality of life. The other two are proper digestion and proper use of sexual energy. So proper sleep is vital for optimal health. Healthy sleep rhythms are aligned with the sun. We wake up early and we go to sleep early. And early meaning definitely before midnight, not 6 p.m. early, but before midnight. So I'm going to talk about those patterns and what is ideal for a vata, pitta, or kapha out of balance. So vata healthy sleep patterns, they have the most common sleep issues in a vata imbalance due to that tendency toward worry, anxiety, excess energy, restless body. So they're the ones that have a tendency to, moving the fingers, the hands, the body. It's very, very difficult to sit still because there's so much excess energy. The body is in constant motion. It's like, I don't know what to do with all of this. It's very restless. Proper sleep is vital for balancing this energy. How do we create a healthy sleep pattern? Go to bed and wake up at approximately the same time each day. That schedule is really, really important for them. So sleeping around 10 p.m., being in bed around 10 p.m. to sleep, this varies according to the time of year where you live, and wake with the sunrise, and continue this pattern until the body adjusts. So when we become feeling more in that healthy, vital, vibrancy of that inspiration, that ray of sunshine type personality that is creative for a vata, we don't have to be so rigid with the schedule. But this is the type of personality that really needs that rigidity at this time, that type of medicine. Now, it's best to look and calculate the time of sleep by the time of sunrise. I was just in the Southeast, and the sunrise there is very late in my experience. It was 7:45 a.m. I'm used to being on the West Coast where it was much, much earlier. So I had to adjust that time for myself. So my ideal sleeping is 7.5 hours. So if I have to adjust that, then I'm going to sleep around 11 p.m. instead of 10 p.m., which is a little bit different for me. But really the key is calculating by that sunrise. So for a vata imbalance, looking at when the sun rises in your area and then calculating out 7 to 8 hours for your sleep. And that's the time you'd be going to sleep. Pitta tends to sleep very well, except in the hot nights because they have excess heat in the body and the mind. They awake really eager to begin the day because they're goal oriented. They have lots of things that they've planned and they want to get going on it. Stress can lead to sleep issues. So that's number one. They stress themselves out because they want to stay within and complete everything, and they really kind of over plan. And that's when the sleep issues come in for a pitta. The mind plans, problem solves instead of sleeping. So waking up in the middle of the night, if that's happening for you and suddenly you find yourself, I'm planning, I'm thinking about today, thinking about what I'm going to do. The other tendency is when there is this anger, underlying resentment about a conversation that they've had the previous day, previous weeks, even years, and they keep replaying that situation over and over and over again. It's not being in control. The mind is going to do that anyway when we're out of balance. If we could push that pause button, we would. But it's when that mind is in that loop, and that's what I talked about in Yoga Nidra, why it's so critical to help train the body to be in the right theta and delta states. That would be an alpha state of or beta wave state of the mind, constantly thinking. So how do we create those healthy sleep patterns for a pitta? Again, going with the sunrise, half hour before sunrise is key for them. And then kind of count backwards to about 7 to 8 hours. And that would be the time of sleeping. Rest is extremely important to prevent burnout. So a pitta will also benefit very much from Yoga Nidra at different points in the day, especially after work hours. A kapha tends to come easily into sleep. With an imbalanced kapha, they often sleep very, very easy. In fact, they could go to sleep any time of the day. They sleep deeper, and it's very hard to wake up. In fact, they sleep too much, which it creates this heaviness, this stuckness in the body and the mind. And it's a quality that is challenging for the kapha to come out of. So how do we create healthy sleep patterns if we're in a kapha state? Less sleep is better for the kapha. Retire again, sleeping, coming back from the sunrise, getting up earlier. Hour before sunrise is very vital to them. Get their lymph system, their body system moving, get the heart system moving, and this really invigorates them. It's the very last thing they want to do, but it's the very best thing that they can do to come into balance. So coming up, getting out of bed an hour before the sun comes up, and then count back. The sleep, they're going to want to sleep 9, 10, 11 hours, but really this is the group that could do vital and be very vital with 6 to 7 hours of sleep. Napping and sleeping in. So this is very interesting. I think it kind of goes against what a lot of people think are healthy. In general, it's best to avoid napping and sleeping in, except when great fatigue, severe stress, or illness are happening. And that is happening in our world right now. So it is, I would say, and also we're at the equinox. We have a transition or a change of season. When women are in their menses cycle, it is very vital to have extra sleep. And if true napping, if when we lay down for 10 to 15 minutes and the mind relaxes and the body relaxes, that is very, very vital. So when we're in those types of situations, sleep when the body says sleep. A very depleted vata type person or vata type imbalance can benefit from occasional napping, again, 10 to 15 minutes throughout the day. And I recommend Yoga Nidra because it really allows the whole body to rest and allows the mind to rest. And then the body is in that rejuvenation state. Oftentimes when we think we're napping and we're laying down, the mind is still restless. So that's why Yoga Nidra practice for 10 or 15 minutes in those times when we need that nap can really have exponential benefits. A burned out pitta, someone who is overworked and the mind is constantly working at night, hands down, benefits from napping through the day. And I would recommend Yoga Nidra over napping. A kapha type should avoid naps and sleeping in unless there's an illness present. So they're the ones that do the best without sleeping through the day, do the best with sleeping less at night, but the imbalance shows up. They're the ones that are sleeping more. So how are we doing on time? Oh, great. I've just almost gone a little bit over the 20-minute time. I'm trying to keep this in short so that, because I know we are all very busy with lots of things going on in our lives. So I just want to invite you to make any comments, any reflections on your experiences with the episode so far. And if there's anything new that you want to explore on this healing journey through these episodes, go ahead and pop that in the chat. I am able to respond to all chats and comments if you're watching the replay at this time. I encourage you to experiment this week. Find out what the sunrise time is. And if it's one day, you don't have to be perfect every day. If it's one day during this week that you work with the time of getting up, as I said, Vata gets up at the sunrise, a Pitta imbalance gets up half hour before sunrise, and a Kapha imbalance gets up 1 hour before sunrise. So look at those surveys that I put in the description, download them, and see where you have the most imbalanced. You'll just circle the indicators, the symptoms, and see where you have the most. You might find that you have 2 or 3 in the same category. That's very typical. So let's say you have 7 in one category, 7 in another, 5 in another. Just look at the 2 and determine which one feels right to you. And let's say it's a Kapha Pitta imbalance. So it'd be getting up an hour before the sunrise or getting up a half hour before the sunrise. Decide what feels, what's feeling best, what's resonating. That's where I want us to get to, really listening to our own heart and body and determining. I'm going to give you lots of information. I'm going to give you my experiences, but hopefully over this whole course of this journey, you're really tuning into your body and what is best for your body. So upcoming topics, we're going to be looking at food as medicine, electromedicine, herbal therapy and dosages, biofield tuning, stem cell patch therapy, Ayurvedic seasonal cleanse practices, and much, much more. Please share this episode if you think it can benefit with someone that your friends or family with. Make a comment. I read all of them. I respond to all of them. I want to hear your experiences, and subscribe to the channel. It helps it get out there, and share with more people who need to hear. I'll see you next Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time.